Welcome to Every Game, where I play every game by a developer. So, you know when you're playing something that's just extremely fun to move around in? Like, no matter what button you press next, you just know your character is gonna have that flair, that sparkle, that pizzazz. Well, that's Rittzler for ya. You want 3D platformers, this is the dev to follow. You may have heard of or even played a little Metroidvania by the name of Pseudoregalia, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Rittzler's catalog is full of unique prototypes, clever game jam entries, and plenty of surprises, so buckle up everyone, this one's gonna get wild. But first, we're gonna take things real slow with what I can only describe as a walking sim platformer. This is a game jam project Rittzler made with 3 other people, and it's about this cloaked figure walking along a short path and dealing with their grief. What you see is what you get, and I can assure you, all the games coming next are much more fast-paced. Who would have thought jumping between a bunch of blocky, unfinished assets could be so fun? This is a prototype for Blazing Dynamo, a project that's been put on the back burner until Rittz has completed a few full games and maybe has a small team to work on it with. Already though, it is so much fun. Bucket here has a ton of different moves to play around with. My favorite one is the dive. I am playing with a keyboard and mouse here since I couldn't get my controller to work, but hey, I wasn't gonna let that stop me from platforming my little heart out. And for just a prototype, this thing has still got so much style. The UI is really nicely done, obviously Bucket is a cutie, and the power cord that whips around behind you makes all your movements feel that much more dynamic and meaningful. The art style also has this little bit of softness to it that makes the world even more inviting to play around in. Any combination of buttons you could possibly mash always does something fun, and here you can see a more skilled player, the developer, playing Blazing Dynamo as intended. I decided to check out the full list of moves at one point, and this game goes deep. Seriously, I could not believe what I was seeing. Speedruns are gonna go crazy. So if this project, published in 2021 mind you, is any indication of what Rittzler is capable of, we're in for a wild time with the rest of these games. Death Roll Frenzy is a pretty interesting one. Also a 3D platformer, but there's this puzzle element to it as you try to figure out how to reach the end of each level before exploding. It was part of the 2022 GMTK Game Jam, so not quite as polished as Blazing Dynamo, however, the idea is pretty good. You have a die with you that you can throw to give you extra boost and then recall it to your current position when you need it. Each time you recall it, it takes longer and longer to spawn, so it's usually better to try to carry it with you when possible. Kinda tough for me to just pick the game up and go, each move takes getting used to, so I had to replay some of the levels quite a few times to make it to the end. Definitely a bit of strategy involved, but still fun and full of that Rittzler pizzazz. Next, we have a game jam winner called STRATO-SPEAR. VT finds herself separated from her ship on an alien planet. It's close by, but she'll need to fight her way through an island full of hostile alien life to get back to it. I decided to start in the training room, practice a few moves, maybe become besties with this cute leg fish. Guess not, it's spear time for you, buddy. In the full game, we start off on this beautiful sunset-y alien island, complete with another fishman. This time I know exactly how to handle him. I find my spear, and off into the caves I go. There are less movement options here than in some of the other games, just jump, climb, and dash, but the vibes are off the chart. Our character VT looks straight out of a lo-fi bomb rush cyberpunk, and wow, these jellyfish are annoying. Good thing I can launch my spear at them, which then becomes lodged in their squishy bodies until defeated by my martial arts skills. Overall, another cool project. The enemies do soak up a lot of hits before dying, but once you've had enough of them, you can kinda just run past until you reach your ship and blast off into the stars once again. Another prototype, Radical Avalanche, is a snowboarding platformer, and it never really clicked for me. I couldn't decide if I was supposed to walk or ride around. Neither lets you move very fast, but hey, at least you're riding in style, until you're not. You have a charged jump, which kinda kills all momentum. You can do lots of wall kicks, which is always a welcome feature, and you can toss your board to use as a mobile platform. I don't know, maybe I just need to mess around with it more to get the hang of things, but I just kept finding my character doing things I didn't want them to be doing. Ritz said they scrapped this project, but I wouldn't mind if they worked this extreme sports angle into something else. I do think you could definitely go places with this one. Pseudoregalia is the GOAT 3D platformer Metroidvania. You know, the one where you play as a goat. It is also the greatest of all time, and it even made its way onto my favorite game showcase on Steam. Really goes to show how much a talented developer can do with some cubes and a few chunky textures. As soon as I booted it up, I understood the hype. You start off with not much in the way of movement abilities and not even a sword to defend yourself. My first formidable challenge came in the form of this mini-boss, which I beat after a few attempts. However, most of the game's challenge comes from the platforming. You walk into a ginormous room filled with pillars and floating platforms, and absolutely zero idea how to get across it. But slowly, new doors will open up to you, literally, and each ability you find feels like a game changer. Anywhere you go could potentially be the right way. There's always something to find or a new obstacle to overcome, and the map loops back on itself enough to make getting from place to place doable as you expand your moveset. Pseudoregalia is a short game, about 5 hours to get to the finish, and a little longer to 100%, and it all felt perfectly paced to me. Just when I was starting to feel like I had more or less mastered my skills, I would unlock something new, or even just string my moves together in a new way, and then my mind would start buzzing with old areas I wanted to revisit to put my skills to the test. Pseudoregalia actually started off as a game jam project, as many of the greats do. It won, of course, was made in 3 weeks by a handful of people, and I checked it out a little bit for the sake of this video. It's surprisingly similar. The biggest difference I noticed right off the bat were the textures. The world feels a little more dead, and most of the rooms are completely empty aside from the platforms and a few enemies here and there. A lot more rooms have of course been added to the full game, but the game jam version definitely feels like a complete game in and of itself. Super impressive that they made this in just a few weeks. Please go play Pseudoregalia if you haven't yet. And now we're switching things up with Witch Walk, featuring an intriguingly blank itch.io page. Let's see what it's all about. Now we're playing in first person, a bit of a shocker, I know, but the game's still got some of that platforming, speedrunning flair that you'd expect. The Witch of the Woods wants you to throw things into this cauldron. Apparently not 3 carrots. Ah, the recipe's right up here, perfect. Now there's an important sentence at the bottom of the start screen I may have missed on my first attempt. Collect ingredients by throwing rocks at things. So that explains it. Crab and salamander, easy. Cheese and apple, not so much. But wait, as the great Isaac Newton taught us, apples come from trees. And cheese comes from the cheese man. I didn't have to pirate this next game, called Devi and the Mist of Loosejaw, because it's a free game jam project. We're back to our 3D platforming roots here and get told that we should head up to the lighthouse on the cliff if we want any chance of escaping this island. Yet another game where you can just start mashing buttons and instantly have fun, and one that embraces the time limit of the game jam, complete with randomly textured objects. Or maybe this blue house was on purpose to draw my attention and read all about the location of a secret treasure stash. Aha, a cave. And would you look at that? A weapon. You can smash the boxes in this game. I was a little upset to find out you couldn't do that in Pseudoregalia, not gonna lie. As well as these boarded up areas, which was great until I got stuck under a cliff. 10 out of 10. Our time among these games is coming to a close soon, unfortunately, but I still have one left for you. Slimy Climbey Chambers, another game jam project. Not my favorite on this list. It's a puzzle platformer where you throw slime ball jump pads around to escape each level. The bouncing mechanics are pretty cool, but just, sliming around on the floor is kind of a bummer, especially coming from some of these other very acrobatic games. It also took me way too long to figure out that you can replenish your slime in these pools of water, so I did wander around for a good 5 minutes and was almost ready to quit before I even started. But hey, not everything is for everyone. There's a lesson in here somewhere. So those are all of the Rittzler games that we can play as of now, but as you can guess, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, including Electrokinetic. Its release was originally planned for 2022 or 2023, but then Pseudoregalia got in the way, which I am very thankful for. But it will be exciting to play whatever the next project is, whenever it's ready. There's no demo or anything yet for this one, but we do get a nice little synopsis. In Electrokinetic, you take on the role of a data recovery program, scouring an old computer, looking for important files. Collect bits to buy items and unlock new functions as you go, allowing you to construct a new moveset to work with every time. Be careful though, the deeper you go, the more hostile the system becomes. And it looks pretty fun based on the gameplay and this pretty interesting concept, I can definitely say that. So thank you Ritz for creating all these wonderful virtual worlds for me to play around in. And thank you to you all for joining me as I did just that.